Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to tell you what I did to stop this last cold that tried to take hold in me from getting a foothold, and I got over it in just 3 days versus my typical 5 to 7. So I will show you everything in just a minute.
With every start, we are born again. Open your heart, spend this time in your head.
All right, so first of all, I want to talk about what happened. Because I have Lyme disease and who knows what else going on, my immune system is not always on top of everything. So I do tend to get sick more than a lot of other people. For instance, I'm the only one that actually got sick this last time around. Nobody else did in my family. Bella got a little tiny bit of a snuffy nose, and I implemented some of these things for her, and she overcame it before it turned into anything more than a tiny bit of a drippy nose. I started to get sick on, let me see, it was Wednesday. It's Tuesday of the following week, so this is day 6 right now. I started to get sick on Wednesday, and by the afternoon, I was like, it's allergies, it's allergies, it's allergies. It was not allergies. It ended up becoming a full-blown cold, and it moved into my sinuses, and I was having extreme sinus pressure, lots of discharge out my nose, just feeling super achy, headaches, the whole 9 yards. So that very first day, I took 1 Sudafed and I took 4 ibuprofen because I've been here before, just recently, and I was so tired of being sick and tired that I just attacked it right away. Took those medicines the very first day. Slept through that night, didn't sleep great by any means, still felt terrible, didn't have my nose running down my face, but felt the pressure and the congestion just really ramping up because of the medication that I had taken. Well, I've recently been doing a lot of training and research on herbal tinctures and ways to naturally boost your immunity, and I just took a course. It's just a 4-day free course. I'll put it right down here for anyone who wants to look into it. It's free for 4 days. But one of the things that she was saying is we have symptoms for a reason. And the problem that we run into is when we suppress those symptoms, our symptoms are usually a way for our body to detox or get rid of whatever it is that we're dealing with. So the runny nose that I was having was my body's way of getting rid of some of the toxic load that the virus was actually producing in my body, trying to get rid of it, get it out of my body. When I took that Sudafed, I held it all in. And I keep that toxic waste from the virus inside my body. When I take the ibuprofen, I truly believe that it does kind of hinder my immune system. I was experiencing pain, I had a headache, I didn't feel good, kind of achy, and instead of resting, I took medication so that I could keep going. So what I essentially did was I made it impossible for my body to fight the infection on its own in an effective way. So after watching her video of saying that symptoms mean something and it's our body's response to it, so what we don't want to do is stop those symptoms, we want to support those symptoms. And I made the decision right there. I said, okay, no more. I don't care how bad it gets. I am not taking any more ibuprofen, and I am not taking any more Sudafed. I am going to just work through this illness the rest of this stint. However long it takes, whatever comes, I'm going to find natural ways to try and fight this, because the last time I was sick for almost a solid 4 weeks. And then I had a week break, and then I was sick again. It was insane. And I was taking all of our typical medications the entire time because I was so miserable. And I kept saying, my immune system's not working, my immune system's not working. Well, I was suppressing my immune system. So I made the decision, no more. As miserable as I get, I don't care. I'm going to continue to do this. So let me tell you what all I did. And one of the things that she says in this training is that when you use herbs or other alternative methods of healing and supporting your immune system, you have to hit it hard. And that's one thing that we don't do and we don't really think about because we're so used to using these Western medicines. You take a pill and it dissolves over time in your system, continually releasing more and more and more symptom suppressing medication so that we think we're good for 8 hours. Unfortunately, that's not the way that it works when you're working with natural healing remedies. So I'm going to start first with something super simple that most everyone has. Tea. And she, in this course, again, tells you how you are going to brew your tea for medicinal purposes. Now, you can use bag tea or you can use loose leaf tea, but you are going to do 2 to 3 times the amount that you normally do. So you're going to do 2 or 3 bags and up to a tablespoon of whatever it is of your loose leaf tea that you're going to use. You want to be very intentional with the teas that you are using. So I have some traditional medicinals that I had purchased from the store, the pre-done tea bags. A couple of them are things like herbal cold care, immune zoom. There was an elderberry. There was a couple of different ones. So I rotated those out. I did 2 bags of tea in here. Plus I got out my little tea strainer. I did a full teaspoon of ginger and a full teaspoon of my mullein leaf that I had collected from my home on my property and freeze dried last year. That's what I added to this. I only filled it up about this much. I want to say it's about 10 ounces of water, hot water. Her directions are bring it to a boil and let it cool off for a minute or 2. I have an electric kettle, so I brought it up to 203 degrees. I then poured it in there, about 10 ounces, and then this is a mason jar lid. I put it upside down because it fit just right inside the lip, and you leave it covered to steep for 15 or 20 minutes. What that does is it keeps all of the nutrients in here, just continuing to go around and around and steeping and getting more and more potent. When we leave it uncovered, some of the fat-soluble minerals, vitamins, and nutrients are actually going to evaporate off. So we want to keep those in there, and that is going to help concentrate what we need to help us get better. Once you have your tea, I added a little bit of Truvia to it. And then I would add a few ice cubes to it just to kind of cool it down so that I could drink it. The goal is to drink all of the tea, all of it. So however much water you put in there, it doesn't really matter. It's the amount of herbs that really make the difference. So if you're going to only drink 6 ounces, then only make it with 6 ounces. Yes, it's going to be very potent, but make what you will drink. If you're able to drink more than that, say 12 ounces, go ahead and make 12 ounces. But we want the concentration, we want the amount of herbs to be in there. So I drink a cup of tea every 2 to 4 hours with this high concentration. A video that I actually tried to record the other day did not work out, but in the background you can see I have probably 18 tea bags that are hanging up in my kitchen drying. I save my tea bags to give to my chickens because herbs are good for chickens too, but they're all hanging up there because that's how many tea bags I went through while I was trying to fight this illness. So the very first thing would be the tea, because most everybody can go to the store, grab some tea. I suggest stocking up on some tea so that when it happens, you don't have to go out when you're sick. You're already going to have it at home for you. The next thing that I did, and I have just recently started using these are tinctures from a company called Earthley. I have 4 of them. I didn't end up using the cough one because I didn't have a cough, so I didn't use that one. And then I also have a throat spray, which I also did not need to use. I did not have a sore throat. But I used these 3 times a day religiously for the first 2 days. And by the third day, I was almost completely better. I fell in love with these products. They have so many things. I actually have an affiliate link down below. So if you want to go and check them out, you can see what they offer, what they stand for. These are incredible. And you know that you are getting a really good product. And I'm going to start making my own tinctures, but I'm not ready yet. I don't have everything ready. Tinctures can take up to 6 months to make in some cases. I'm not there yet. So I'm going to keep buying the Earthley ones until I have my own store and my own stock. But the ones that I used are Immune Biotic. This one is gross. It doesn't taste good at all, but let me tell you, it works. I used Sinus Saver. This one tastes like elderberry syrup. It actually is really, really yummy. So this one I could take by just straight. And then Feel Better Fast. This one is not terrible, but not super great. So the Immune Biotic and Feel Better Fast, I put into a little shot glass of water. I dropped those in there, a whole dropper full, and then I threw it back. Then followed up with the Sinus Saver afterwards to kind of clear my palate. A little bit of a sweet flavor. These are fantastic. They have directions right there on the back, safe for children ages 6 months plus, and then they give you the amount of drops, not dropperfuls, but drops that you're going to want to do. For adults, it's 10 to 20 drops, which ended up being about how much one dropper full would pull up when you just squeeze the top. It was about that much. So that's what I ended up doing. So these were huge. I did these 3 times a day. And for the first 3 times a day for the first 2 days. Next on my list were essential oils. Now, in her training that she talks about, which the link will be down below, essential oils you really don't want to use before you've tried the herbs. And the only thing that I used essential oils for was actually a headache, because I don't have any herbs that helped with a headache. I have no herbs for pain. So I went ahead and I dipped into my essential oils for the headache purposes alone. I rubbed a little bit of peppermint, and I actually used one that has wintergreen, peppermint, and eucalyptus in it. I rubbed that up on my temples and on the back of my neck, and then I put a cold compress on my eyes, and that helped tremendously. So I did not use much of the essential oils, but I did use them. The essential oils that I have fallen in love with are from Simply Earth. I actually get their monthly kit. This is the kit. I'm going to do a video for you guys on this, an unboxing for this. There is, again, a code down below if you want to check them out. I have an affiliate code with them as well. They will send you an entire big giant box that you're going to need to make all kinds of things, and I will link the video up above. I did my very first one. It's up there so you can watch that, or down below if the card for some reason doesn't show up. But I reserved the essential oils for the really heavy duty things that I didn't have the ability to fight with the herbs, which was simply the headache. That was it. For my congestion over my nose, this is actually a salve that I made myself. This was just solid coconut oil that I melted down over the stove on low heat. I added geranium directly from my plant in my house. I added mullein from my yard, and then I did add some peppermint oil to this after I was done, but I steeped the geranium and the mullein in the coconut oil. I did it on a very low heat until it infused the oil with all of the wonderful properties from those 2 plants. Pulled it off, let it cool down a little bit, added some peppermint oil, mixed it in really good, strained it, put it in this guy. This is what I used. Hello. So you can see I just dig it out with my finger. But this is what I used all over my nose, my sinuses. I was putting it on my throat just in case, because I wasn't sure, if I was going to need it or not, which is actually why I have my one little spot right here. I have like acne. My teenage acne came back after I was rubbing so much stuff on my face trying to help unclog my sinuses. Now, the whole time from the moment that I started feeling not well all the way through till the very end, I was drinking unlimited bone broth or my powdered broth that I have from my freeze drying. I've been drinking water, making sure that I'm keeping my sugar intake to a very minimum. You want as few carbohydrates as possible so that they aren't feeding the virus. That does absolutely help make a difference. So I was very close to carnivore the entire time that I was sick, which I was actually pretty much carnivore for the 3 days leading up to me getting sick as well. So it was almost a solid week of being pretty strict carnivore. But water and broth are two go-tos for sure. I actually added a little bit of ground beef and a hard scrambled egg to my broth. So it's kind of like rice in my broth, giving me lots of good protein, lots of good things to help fuel my immune system so that it could fight what it needed to fight. Next thing I did every single night, I sat on the couch very intentionally with my tiny human, snuggled up, watching a movie, resting, relaxing with my feet up, with a castor oil pack over my liver. So this is what's called a castor oil pack. Now you can do this without buying this, but I happen to already have this on hand. But this has waterproof plastic lining the back of it and all kinds of absorbent cotton on the front side of it. It has a little zipper so you can put a heating pack into it, but I used an electric heating pack to keep it on my abdomen to really drive the castor oil deeper into my body. Now, castor oil is amazing for so many different things. It can help you detox, which when you're sick, that's exactly what we need to do, is detox that virus that's in there. Get your lymphatic system moving. Castor oil right here. This I actually put on my castor oil pack, but then I also rubbed a little bit of it here on my neck because you have some lymph nodes that are up here that sometimes get really clogged up, especially when you have a virus. So I rubbed some castor oil up here as well and put it on my liver, on my castor oil pack. I sat there for a solid 2 hours while watching a movie with my child with a heating pack in place, just relaxing and taking it easy, drinking lots of tea and lots of water the entire time I was doing that so that I could flush out those toxins that were beginning to build up in my system, being aided by the castor oil pack. So I did that, after which I would then take a hot bath with Epsom salts to also help to detox what else was going on and to remineralize my body, to bring some good magnesium in there, which would also help with the fighting of the virus. And then last but not least, I know it's a lot, but I did all of it for 2 straight days. And guys, I was almost completely better by day 3. And that never, ever, ever happens. So finally, this is the finishing touch. I went to bed with wet, cold socks. So after the very, very warm hot bath, you're gonna get out. You have to be ready for bed. Nothing else to do. Get out of the bathtub. Take a pair of 100% cotton socks. I don't think that these are 100% cotton, but I worked with what I had. If you can have 100% cotton, that would be better. You are then going to dip these and soak them in ice water. It's winter time in Wisconsin, so the stuff coming out of my tap is pretty darn cold. So I just did it right at my tap. My hands were freezing by the time I was done. Concept is you want to have warm feet before you do this. Then you're going to soak these socks, wring them out really, really good, put them on. You're going to sit on your side of your bed and you're going to put these on. And then on top of these, you're going to put a pair of 100% wool socks. So this wool is going to do a couple of things. It's going to keep the water inside so that it doesn't end up getting all over your bed and you don't get your bed all wet. And then it's also going to help to insulate. So it's going to keep the cold right on your feet. Why would we want to do that? Makes no sense, right? It's a form of hydrotherapy, actually. We all are talking about the cold therapy stuff, right? The ice baths and the cold exposure. This is another way to help your body when you are fighting something. So the concept is that your feet are going to be really, really, really cold, and your body is going to want to warm up your feet. So what's it going to do? It's actually going to ramp up its temperature just a little bit, and it's going to increase the blood flow, which is going to help pump through your lymphatic system as well to warm up your feet. And so it's going to almost induce a very low grade fever while encouraging good circulation through your system. So you're going to go to bed and you are going to wear these things all night long. When you wake up in the morning, the socks should be fully dry and nice and toasty warm, because your body has taken care of the cold feet problem. You kind of forced your body to get a tiny little bit of a fever so that you were able to fight off whatever that virus was that was attacking you, rather than your body waiting and waiting and waiting or suppressing it with medications that would reduce the fever. We are encouraging a slight low-grade fever. An herb that's actually really good for that is chamomile. So the very last cup of tea that I had at night while I was sitting there with my castor oil pack on my stomach was a double bag of lavender chamomile. So I drank that just before I went and took my hot bath. I was so sleepy by the time I went to bed, put my socks on, shivered a little bit until I got underneath the covers, and passed out hard. I kept myself elevated so that my nose could drain. I kept a towel on my pillow. I kept tissues right underneath my nose to catch everything that was pouring out. But let me tell you, the next morning I woke up, I was shocked at how much better I felt. I did the exact same thing again for day 2. I woke up on the morning of day 3, and you honestly would not have known how bad it was on its way to being. I've been sick so often recently. This was a miracle. So I wanted to share with you guys. I know it's a lot, but it took my illness from what is normally almost a week long down to 3 days. There's a tiny little bit of residuals left. You can probably still hear it a little bit in my voice, but I can still breathe through my nose all night long. Nose breathing, absolutely no problem. Coughing up a little bit of stuff, but there's not much left. My body did a fantastic job of fighting off whatever invader this was. The rest of my family, their immune systems were more than strong enough to fight it on their own. So if this regimen can help support me, whose immune system is not in tip-top shape, then imagine what it could do for you if you were to try all of these things instead of the typical line of treatment when we get sick, which is just simply to suppress our symptoms and drag things out far longer than they truly need to be. What do you think, guys? Do you think that this is something that could work for you? Do me a favor, look down below, find all of the links. If you're curious about anything, leave a message down below and I will get back to you and answer your questions to the best of my ability. Please consider liking this video and subscribe if you're new here, and share this with anyone who would be interested in getting over an illness 3 times faster than any other form of treatment that I have ever tried. Thanks so much, guys, for checking in today, and I hope that this works for you as well as it did for me, and I will see you guys on the way. Need my list, though. My list is right here. Let's get my list. That doesn't work. Will it work over here? It does work over here. Okay. From, I'll put the in a, there's a word. A couple of them. No.
Caller.
No. If you are going to be able to drink it over your ting. And this is what's left. Just tiny little bits of bleh. This organic castor oil, it's in a glass bottle. Sorry, the jars are tinging. A double bag of lemon, or no, not lemon. And I will see you guys on the way. I think that's it. Is that it? I think that's it. Okay. 25-minute video. I love you all, and I'm sorry, daughter. The mouse doesn't stop the phone. The finger stops the phone.